Odes to the Ritual Hills is a debut full-length album from Moonfall, a black metal band from Finland who obviously had quite a lot of interest in Beharit as well as associated projects early on. There's a lot of bands associated with Demonomancer of the Rising Curse of Witchery, or Goat Prayer if you will, and his compatriot in a lot of this, Black Moon Necromancer. So they focused a lot on old school black metal in their zine, Macabre Overdose, as well as many of their bands of Doom, Black Feast, Witchcraft. All of these have essentially Finnish black metal ancients in their mode, in their methods. It sounds like Beharit from every angle, and they've covered it. And I think that the difference with Moonfall is that there certainly is really old Finnish black metal in their sound, but they're obviously referencing Black Crucifixion. They're big fans of stuff like Xantatal and Barathrum and whatnot. So there's Doom in this record, and that's kind of the big draw here, is that if you know their work, it is raw, it is obnoxious, it is loud, but it's black metal. And I think that that's the right way to present it. And the way that I would suggest interest in Moonfall at all is if you're a fan of old school early 90s black metal, the very earliest 90s, like fresh out of the 80s stuff. That's what this is, but it's got a little bit of a twist to it, and I'll get to that in a second. We'll just cut to a clip, and you can hear just how obnoxious this record is, as well as some of the kind of heavy metal riffs that are all over it. So when we start adding keyboards and bass-driven songs to all this filthier Samael-inspired sound, what we end up with is a clear reference to like Necromantia and early Varathron, where those heavy metal riffs are kind of the basis of where they went with their mid-paced black metal sounds. The strong bass guitar presence in keyboards adds a lot to that in general, and the rough sound design and all that, it definitely leads to something similar to like maybe Cemetery Lights, although this is much more over the top. Closer to like a Bestial Burst recording with its raw sound design. It's very much a homespun recording. There's riffs in it, and that's the good thing about it. I think the sound design sounds quite old and rotten, and the bass-driven sound obviously appeals to me. This is kind of my interest when it comes to throwback black metal, pulling back to something that was at its most arcane and ancient and I guess naive. The thing about this record, it does, like a lot of their work, it does have a naivety to it that it's just okay. It doesn't feel like they're necessarily putting their own hand in it. They're just dialing it back and making music along the lines of the old stuff, the old, just underground black metal. That's something I'm happy to celebrate most of the time if it's good. And of course, the sound design is completely rotten, and that'll drive most people away. The vocals are ridiculous on this record. They're just terrible. That's something that I like based on just so many years of listening to demo tapes, black metal, death metal, whatever. You get a sense for that they're placing this sound right in a very specific niche and time period, and that's something that I just tend to enjoy, especially when it comes to this type of black metal. So very simple, straightforward thoughts on this one. It's a solid black metal record in a very old and very specific style. I love the album art. I love the way they presented this. I think that the actual songs, which are pretty solid in terms of their riffs, also have a very strong keyboard element, which keeps it not only arcane sounding but entertaining. And I'd love to hear more bands in this style more often. We were getting a lot of them from like Nuclear War Now for a while, but that's the only place that I'm hearing them lately. So it was cool to come across this. I spent quite a lot of time with it. It's kind of a headache in itself, but for me, a good one that reminds me what I like about black metal in the oldest way. So check it out for yourself if your interests align anywhere nearby mine, and go ahead and read my review for more details and just where I see this record and how it sounded to me.